Frost here. If you guys did not know, I play trading card games, like a lot of them, and in this video we are going to be ranking every trading card game that I play, and disclaimer, this isn't a ranking at least which one is better than the other, it is more of how much I enjoy them in my personal life, and who knows, you might be interested in playing these in the future. Let's start it off with Cardfightvanguard. It is the first trading card game that I picked up seriously, and it all started when I first watched an ad for the anime. I was so enticed by the world of Vanguard that it made me want to watch the anime even more. After a while, I started playing the game and I'm still playing to this day. Now with the card game in general, I really enjoy the thought of not having a mana system in the game, though some argue that it is a reason why it is a somewhat below average game. I just enjoy the thought of just having your cards at any time and seeing if you get punished or rewarded for playing it. In this game, you win by dealing 6 damage points to your opponent by consistently hitting their leader or vanguard. At first thought, it sounds like an easy thing to do, but with the defense system in the game, it leads to another point to why I like Vanguard, the guarding system. Not only is your hand used for offense, but your hand is also used for defense in preventing your opponent's attacks from getting through. I love how using this mechanic feels like you're shielding yourself from an attack. The gameplay is enticing. I love how this game is presented to you in the anime. You are a card fighter moving your cards around the board and feeling like you have total control of the army that you play, and a sense of control is why I love playing this game. The one huge downside of this game is that there's a huge luck element in this game, which in itself is debatable. In card games, randomness is essential for creating a great game, but there are moments in the game where you feel like your luck screwed you over, or you do not have much sense of control of something that happened in the game state. Improving at this game is difficult to identify since most likely it is due to how your opponent drew their cards, and with that I identify Cardfightvanguard to be A tier. Weissschwarz. I do not have much to say about weissschwarz since I do not play it that often, but I can say I love how they presented it to the audience. I love how different IPs of anime, video games, and visual novels are fighting it out to see who is better. For instance, Sword Online is fighting ReZero in weissschwarz. That just sounds amazing and funny to me. Gameplay was also easy to learn, though it was probably easier due to my knowledge of Cardfightvanguard. Although the game itself is not as exciting as Vanguard, where the theme of it does not get me going, which is just my personal opinion, it's still in itself a great game. Also, the terminology of the game is hard for new players to get into, but I'm sure with enough time you can remember and learn the basics about the environment of weissschwarz. What people probably know for weissschwarz is its SPs and how they design their cards. Especially for lower rarity cards, they use screenshots from the IPs most of the time, but for higher rarity cards, they have original artwork, for instance what you see on screen right now. These are sought after cards and I love the collector's market for this game. With that, I give this game a C. It's just not my cup of tea. Shadowverse Evolve. The last bushiroad game on this list and a fast growing trading card game for sure. Shadowverse Evolve is based on the digital trading card game Shadowverse and is very popular right now. Now, this game has a typical mana progression system where the number of mana or play points you get to use to play cards over time grows up by 1 every turn. There are also 6 classes that you can play and build your deck around. The English version has just hit its 1-year mark recently, and its player base has just been growing. One of the most noticeable things about the game is evolving your units. Essentially, you are changing the abilities of the units by transforming them into a more powerful version of it, and doing these actions just feels rewarding. You're trying to get your opponent down from 20 life points to 0, and you do this by calling your troops to fight your opponent directly, casting spells, or fighting enemy troops. This game is a blast to play because of the fast-paced gameplay and builds that you get to play with. Although, one of my only complaints about the game is your starting hand. You have a starting hand of 4, and if you break or get stuck with no playable cards in your hand, you're essentially screwed, but that can be easily preventable with just deck building. The other downside that I feel like to me is just the player base. But most of the players that I am playing with had played with the digital version, and it's so hard to interact with everyone with vast Shadowverse knowledge, where I was just a complete beginner with the keywords and references. But luckily I was able to play the digital and understood most of the references now, but in minor detail. The art is amazing, the gameplay is great, so I would put it as a high B since most of my decisions are based upon how I get excited, and this is not one of those games. But it's still a good game. The Pokemon TCG. Now, coming from a background on bushiroad card games, I say I got bored of this trading card game really quickly, but I still love the art and quick, fast-paced gameplay that you get to do. This card game especially has the quickest deck velocity that I know. You draw multiple cards a turn and go as fast as you can to get to your win condition. But if you cannot keep up the pace of the game or your tempo, then you fall way behind towards winning the game itself. Also, there might be a lot of forgettable mechanics in the game, like conditions, like poison or burn, that take a bit to remind yourself, but it's not a big issue. Gameplay wise, it is a fine game to play if you like sequencing your actions to victory, and the environment is super friendly with many different kinds of people that you can meet and the places that you can get to go. It is definitely a game where it is easy to play, but it's super hard to become good or even a great player at it. For me, I thought the prize card system was really good to simulate having a Pokemon battle, but for me personally, I like having the health point system, which Shadowverse and other trading card games have. So this ranks for me at a C. Grandarchive. This is the most recent trading card game that I got into, and I will say is a fun one. In this game, you are a champion who is leveling up and summoning regalia items to fight the opponent's champion to get them down to 0 life points. The unique thing about this game is its cost system. Instead of using mana, you are using your own hand to temporarily get rid of it and to play other cards from your hand, and you will get them back at the start of your next turn. The anime style artwork in this game is gorgeous, as it features a sort of story from the Grandarchive lore. But this game just recently came out, and its player base is growing day by day, with them recently holding champions, worlds, nationals, local tournaments, online leagues, and many more. What made me excited about this game is its competitive sense. You have to start by playing at low tier event to win as many qualifier points as you can to get to your nationals, which then you can have a chance to get into worlds. They have their own website that tracks your ranking and placement. It feels like you really are in a video game with this trading card game, and you're really just trying to become the best in the world. The only problem that I see about this game is the prices of the cards, which have been addressed by Weebs of the Shore themselves, which they announced that they will be printing more products in the future, which is amazing to me. I never seen a company that is interacting with its audience, with its player base, and seeing the needs of a player base. The call and response system in the game is also cool, where you can respond to any action that your opponent does with the play of a single card. With that, I will give it an A. Lastly, the grandfather of all trading card games, in my opinion, is Magic the Gathering. Now, Magic the Gathering, in my opinion, was the basics for most of the trading card games that I mentioned on the tier list. It has the mana system, the card variety with 30 years of history. It has the keywords and interactions that you can do, and so much more. What I love about Magic is its multiple formats too. Magic itself is not a singular game, but is a variety of different gameplay styles that you can enjoy at home or at your local store or LGS. It is truly Magic the Gathering. When you see families enjoying the game together at home, players meeting each other at their local game store, tournaments firing, and so much more. It embodies what a trading card game should be in terms of social environment. Yes, I know how much the company messed up with its 30th anniversary products and with its recent set releases, but you cannot overlook how big the game has gotten and how much fun it is to play with other people, and with that, I give it an A. And that's the tier list. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I will be making more nerdy trading card game content for you guys in the future, and hopefully you will like and subscribe this video to support the content. And with that, I'll just see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.